Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021, and I'm going to call to order at this time our work session of the Maricopa County Community College District Governing Board. As we do often, I'm going to announce that we are live captioning our meetings, so please look in the chat window of our Webex meeting where you will find a link. Please click on that link to open a web page with the live captioning option. So with that, I'm going to call roll of board members, and I'll start with you, Mr. Evans, our student trustee. Are you present?
I am present.
Thank you. Ms. Bittersmith?
I'm here.
Great. Mrs. Mcgrath?
I'm present.
Good. Dr. Narini?
I'm here.
Thank you. Ms. Smith? Ms. Smith? Dr. Thor?
Here.
Ms. Wynn?
Present.
I'll go back to you, Ms. Smith. Are you present? I know sometimes we run into some initial challenges. Okay. With that, though, I'm going to call the meeting to order with 6 board members present and our student trustee. Ms. Smith, if she can connect at further time, will let us know that she's on. So today we're being provided a report on one item, and that is our 4-year baccalaureate degree update. I know some of you are curious why this was called without previous notice from last week's board meeting. And I know that'll be part of this evening's explanation. So as we move into the evening's discussion, I'm going to defer to you, Dr. Gonzalez, and I expect you're going to defer to someone else. So with that, I'll turn it over to you first and we'll go from there.
All right, President Sullivan, members of the board, and our guests here that are on this call, once again, thank you for the opportunity to come before you to present and to provide an update on our work with the 4-year baccalaureate degree. And as you indicated, it may have seemed all of a sudden that we're here and there was sort of a state of urgency, and there is, and I'll afford Dr. Lesinski an opportunity to do so. You've opened up past board meetings with songs, and Eric and I were kicking around a couple songs, and we thought that maybe Celebration from Kool and the Gang, or maybe even Twist and Shout from the Beatles at some point during the presentation. So either way, feel free to do that, because we're really proud of the work that's been done and what we're going to present tonight. And before we even get started here, I just want to thank our presenters tonight and our leads on this work. That's Dr. Lushinsky, Ms. Bettina Solis, Ms. Halisa Gria, and Dr. CJ Worster. And these Ms. Gria and Dr. Worster have been assigned a time and an opportunity to work on this this year. They are our administrative and faculty leads on this work. And so I'm hoping and I'm pretty confident that you'll be pleased with our progress. And then, as I said, Dr. Lesinski will talk about what may feel as a sense of urgency here as we move forward. Take it away, Dr. Lesinski.
Well, I just want to interrupt briefly. So Twist and Shout will now be on my mind all night. And at the end, we'll sing Celebration, or maybe I should do it the other way around. Whatever. Right. So take it away. Those are great tunes. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Dr. Lesinski, your turn.
Absolutely. And President Sullivan, members of the governing board, Chancellor Gonzalez, CEC, colleagues and guests, this really is a celebratory moment for us here in Maricopa. And this has really been a moment in time that's 25 years in the making. The reason that we requested for this work session to occur, which does feel somewhat urgent, is that just a week ago as a system, we've gathered to this place where we have our recommendations and we're ready to move forward, and we have our degrees selected and ready to go. And before we wanted to announce to the world, to stand on top of the roof and shout, here's where we are, we thought it best to engage with our governing board before we had an opportunity to yet inform our university partners of the degrees that you're going to learn more about, to maybe alert our local media so we can celebrate this moment for Maricopa, because this truly is a historic moment for our system. First, though, I'd also like to thank our governing board members for the work that you did to get us to this place. Without your support in advocating for the 4-year degrees for us to have the authority to offer 4-year degrees, we would not be here today. So thank you for all the efforts you put into that. And I want to thank the college teams who worked tirelessly in a very short time frame to be able to put forward such compelling proposals that lead us to where we are today with the programs that you're going to see that we're bringing forward. So for today then, our goal and how we'll proceed today is we're going to review what led us to this place. We will share the bachelor degree program selections and the next steps to guide us in program development as a system. The key word there is as a system. I think you'll hear that as we move forward. We hope that you feel confident that the selections we've made meet the intent of our legislation. They truly are the best options that we believe for our colleges and communities at this time. There's a lot of work, we realize this, to come, but we're very excited to move forward with you together as we continue to improve this collaboration and the processes for our eventual adoption and implementation of these bachelor degrees for Maricopa. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Halise Agria. She's one of our bachelor degree team co-leads and the district director in academic affairs division at the district office. And she's going to take you through the first portion of our presentation today, which will lead you through the steps for our recommendation. So Halise, please take it away.
If you could advance to the next slide, Elsa. Thank you. Good evening, President Sullivan, members of the Governing Board, Chancellor Gonzalez, CEC colleagues and guests. My name is Halise Agria, and I am a residential faculty member with the privilege to be reassigned to the role of a district director in the Academic Affairs Division at the district office to guide the bachelor's degree efforts in Maricopa. Thank you so much for inviting us to this work session to share the recommendations of the colleges and the leadership teams for the development of our first baccalaureate programs. The inclusion of bachelor's degrees into our curricular offerings is an exciting opportunity. It's also an opportunity that requires a good deal of coordination at each of our colleges and the district. Thank you, as echoing Dr. Lushinsky's remarks, for your ongoing advocacy and support to get us here. Since the passing of Senate Bill 1453 by Governor Ducey and the Arizona legislature, we have set on a course of discovery to develop a comprehensive plan to guide our district efforts. These initial steps since the passage of the bill included preliminary meetings with the district stakeholders to identify an approach to the work, critical discussions with the Higher Learning Commission about accreditation requirements, the selection of the leadership team to coordinate the work, as well as a visioning session with college teams to co-create the criterion to propose and select our first bachelor's awards for our systems to offer in fall 2023. Next slide, Elsa. The following slides outline a high-level overview of the necessary steps and timeline to get us to our goal of offering the first bachelor's degree awards in fall 2023. During this time, we are identifying the first degrees for development and preparing our processes, policies, and structures for their successful implementation. The big immovable force is the time needed for the HLC substantive change approval, which is estimated to be approximately 6 months and cannot be requested until governing board approval of the new awards is received. This means at the latest, we need to have the awards approved by the board in August 2022 to ensure HLC approval prior to the priority enrollment in early March 2023. Based on this date, we need to identify the programs and the colleges offering the programs by no later than the end of October to ensure sufficient time for the development of curriculum, the HLC application, and the many changes needed to our business processes. Going from left to right in the timeline, you can see that the legislation outlined clear considerations related to the program offerings, such as workforce demand, student demand, financial and resource analysis, and evidence that we were not unnecessarily duplicating offerings in the state. As I mentioned previously, a visioning session was held on August 31st, where input from faculty and administrators was used to develop a framework and a rubric to guide the college proposals that were submitted on October 19th, according to the legislative criteria. The colleges and leadership teams reviewed the proposals and selected the programs for development on October 26th These are the programs we will be presenting to you today. It is also very important to note that the legislative process, HLC, and college discussions look to how we would work together as a system to meet workforce and community needs through the offering of bachelor's degrees. This has led to an initial collaborative, targeted, and success-driven approach to program selection, with colleges being strategic and focused in their proposals for fall 2023, with an eye to adding programs in the future once we demonstrate student success in our initial offerings. As you can see on the slide, a session in January will be held to refine our set of guiding principles and create a 3 to 5 year strategic roadmap for the development of bachelor's degree programs based on our lessons learned from this first cycle to make future iterations of the process even more efficient. Additionally, during this time, work teams made up of faculty, staff, and administrators have been and will continue to be formed to help ready our systems, processes, and structures and policies for the adoption of the baccalaureate degrees. Faculty will also be working on designing and developing the extensive new curriculum needed to support upper division courses in these programs, along with revisiting existing degrees and certifications to ensure a thoughtful progression of outcomes for our students to be successful. It's anticipated that the new curriculum design work will be completed on April 29th. At the same time, a team will be working on the HLC substantive change application that we have been advised by the HLC should be coordinated across the system. Colleges will have the spring to create and refine their application and provide the detailed college-specific information that will be required by the legislation, and they will deliver that in a program package submission for the governing board to review for approval no later than August 2022. As per the legislation, an official notification will be sent to Arizona State University of our intent to seek approval for the programs 60 days prior to the governing board meeting. However, our intention as good partners is to notify all of our university partners informally once we announce our intent to develop the selected programs. Next slide, please, Elsa. In the fall of 2022, we began the work of implementation of all the deliverables of the working teams I previously mentioned. These activities may include the development of course materials, updates to our support resources and our services, changes to our curricular and enrollment systems, upgrades to facilities and equipment, and more, and even more to support the integration of bachelor's degrees in time for fall 2023 enrollment and launch. At the same time, the program proposal process will open again in September for programs to be offered beginning in fall 2024. The process will integrate lessons learned from this first cycle, as I mentioned. Program submissions in this round will align with a 3 to 5 year roadmap for baccalaureate programs that will be developed collaboratively across the system. Next slide, please, Elsa. As I mentioned, a set of criterion were established with input from the college teams to guide program proposal development and review. These criterion were aligned with Senate Bill 1453 requirements, as well as HLC requirements, and our own previous internal guidelines for establishing new programs in our system. Briefly, there were 23 in total criterion within the areas of workforce demand, student demand, college resource and financial analysis, and non-duplication competition with other higher education institutions in the state. There were also questions related to special considerations to help us fully understand the program's readiness for additional development. For example, if a program had special accreditation and licensure considerations that could impact the quick timeline of a fall 2023 launch. Next slide, please, Elsa. In addition to the criterion, a priority was placed on identifying and supporting proposals within the key industry sectors discussed during the legislative process. These included education, healthcare, information technology, and public safety. Although not exhaustive of all high demand areas in our state, it was considered very important to focus our initial efforts on the areas of most concern to our legislative stakeholders who represent the community at large. Next slide, please, Elsa. I would now like to introduce my co-lead in this work, Dr. CJ Worcester, District Director in the Academic Affairs Division at the District Office, who will walk us through the programs selected for further development for fall 2023.
Thank you, Elise, and good evening, President Sullivan, members of the Governing Board, Chancellor Gonzalez, CEC, colleagues, and guests. My name is CJ Worcester, and I'm a District Director in the Academic Affairs Division at the District Office. The table that is shown here summarizes the bachelor's degree programs endorsed by the colleges and leadership teams to move forward for further development. We've included the industry sector, the program, the region, and the college on this table. As you can see, programs will be offered within each sector that was previously mentioned, with a focus on access and opportunity throughout Maricopa County. All colleges, even those who did not submit a proposal for the first round of program offerings, will follow our common practices in collaborating on curriculum and program development. Additionally, all 10 colleges will engage in ongoing discussions around a consortium approach to best leverage resources as a system and to offer courses in the bachelor's degree programs in a way that meets community and student needs. We will now take a closer look at each program that is moving forward in the process. Next slide, please, Elsa. A Bachelor's of Applied Science in Information Technology with a management focus will be developed through a regional approach by Estrella Mountain and Phoenix College. This program is intended to provide students with information technology skills needed across a variety of industries. IT specialists are employed not just within computer-related industries, but across virtually all public and private sectors, such as retail businesses, industrial firms, major corporations, government offices, and educational institutions. There are numerous certificate and degree pathways that currently exist that would feed nicely into this program to build a pipeline for enrollment, and Estrella Mountain and Phoenix College have the infrastructure in place to begin offering this program. Offering affordable bachelor's degrees in this field provides an opportunity for our students to be the managers and leaders in these high-demand jobs. As Arizona expands and attracts more high-tech industries into our state, this program can help in the development of a skilled workforce. Next slide, please. A Bachelor of Science in Programming and Data Analytics will be developed by Mesa Community College. This program will prepare students to apply programming and systems analysis principles to the selection, implementation, and troubleshooting of computer and software installations. Career opportunities for graduates exist in areas such as computer systems analysts, software developers, and mobile application developers. A bachelor's degree in this field will provide students with the opportunity to deepen their skills and knowledge through hands-on, work-based experiences. Mesa Community College and the East Valley colleges, Chandler Gilbert, Rio Salado, and Scottsdale, are well positioned through their existing collaboration in the Maricopa Information Technology Institute in the East Valley to offer this program. Similar to information technology, this is a high-growth, high-demand, high-wage occupational area with existing related degree and certificate pathways, along with qualified faculty in place to teach upper division courses within this area. Next slide, please, Elsa. A Bachelor's in Arts in Elementary Education with Special Education, a dual certification, will be developed through a regional approach by Glendale, Rio Salado, and Paradise Valley Community College. This program will prepare students to teach elementary education subject matter. The dual certification with special education will also prepare students to teach individuals with special learning needs or disabilities in a special education teacher capacity. Our existing associate's degree pathway that has strong completions would help to create an enrollment pipeline into this bachelor's degree program. This is an occupational area where there was partner and community support during the legislative process, and these partners have continued to express their interest in collaborating with Maricopa to design programs to address the workforce gap that exists. Maricopa will work alongside these partners to create innovative programs to address the pipeline from high school, increase access through flexible class formats and scheduling, and capitalize on existing structures to support the certification of new teachers for Arizona schools. This will include working closely with our university transfer partners to find the best path for each student to become an Arizona educator. Next slide, please, Elsa. A bachelor's in arts and early childhood education with dual language, again, dual certification, will be developed by Mesa Community College. The focus of this program is preparing students to teach within public schools and for management level positions within private schools. MCC is well positioned to offer this program due to its existing partnerships, such as that with Mesa Public Schools, and the qualified faculty, existing facilities, and student support resources that are in place. This program would be distinct by focusing on dual language to encourage and prepare a team of educators qualified to support emerging bilingualism, a valuable skill in many workforce sectors. Over the last 15 years, Maricopa has built a strong early childhood education program, including community partnerships and collaborations with district and state higher education institutions. The current early childhood faculty serve as leaders across the district and the state, advocating for the discipline and collaborating with and mutually supporting other higher education institutions. The program is currently seeking National Association for the Education of Young Children accreditation. Next slide, please, Elsa. A Bachelor's of Applied Science in Public Safety Administration with specializations in law enforcement, emergency management, and judicial studies will be developed through a regional approach by Phoenix College and Rio Salado College. Maricopa has long offered certificates and degrees to support fire and law enforcement academies, as well as the development of frontline supervisors. Maricopa is well positioned to offer this program due to our existing partnerships with these agencies, such as AZ Post and the Phoenix Fire Department, to name just a few. There's significant projected growth in the area of social and public service administration, and at the same time, these areas face recruitment challenges. The offering of a bachelor's award tailored to meet the field-specific needs will expand the support of our partners and prepare future leaders in these agencies to address this unique and increasingly challenging work of fire and police services. We will collaborate regionally as a system and with our partners to offer cohort and location-based opportunities to serve the needs of working professionals. Next slide, please, Elsa. A Bachelor's in Science and Behavioral Health Sciences will be developed by South Mountain Community College. The focus of this program is on providing mental health care professionals with the knowledge and skills to deliver specialized and comprehensive behavioral health and social services to individuals and families. Upon completion, students will be qualified to apply for licensure through the Arizona Board of Behavioral Health Examiners. There's a growing demand for behavioral health services, made even more critical as a result of things such as the opiate crisis and the COVID-19 pandemic. There is also a high level of student interest in this field. Maricopa is well positioned to support diverse populations in becoming mental health providers in their communities through our affordable tuition. South Mountain, working collaboratively with the other colleges, is well positioned to offer this program due to its existing qualified faculty, facilities, and student support resources. Our program will be taught by board-certified licensed practitioners and will focus on the much-needed applied skills, such as work-based learning opportunities, to prepare students for the rigors and stressors of working in this frontline healthcare field. Next slide, please, Elsa. A Bachelor's of Applied Science in Nuclear Medicine and Computed Tomography will be developed by Gateway Community College. Nuclear medicine is a specialized area of radiology that plays a critical role in preparing and administering radioactive drugs to patients in order to detect abnormalities and help diagnose and treat a range of conditions and diseases. There is significant projected growth in this field and the field is professionalizing to require a bachelor's level degree as a standard for accreditation and hiring. No universities within Arizona offer this specialized workforce program that combines academic, clinical, and laboratory training and experiences to train students for the complexities of imaging, diagnostics, patient care, chemistry, physics, and math required to be a nuclear medicine professional. One of the strongest reasons to pursue this bachelor's degree for further development is that the Maricopa associate's degree in this area already requires a minimum of 109 credits for students to learn the necessary knowledge and skills required to sit for professional or board certification. This is 11 credits shy of the total 120 credits required by the average bachelor's degree. Our students should be earning a degree in alignment with the level of training and education required, and with the passage of SB 1453, we now have the option to make this opportunity accessible. Next slide, please, Elsa. General guidelines for program development have been identified, and those are presented here. The first is that approval to proceed with program development is not approval of budget. Financial analyses will continue to be developed and formalized with the support of a budget and facilities work team, which is one of the 8 work teams that will assist with the operationalization and implementation of bachelor's degrees within our system. Second, programs will be developed in a way that incorporates strategies that align with Maricopa's district-wide, wildly important goal, which is to increase equitable 2-year completion and transfer rates for students of color from 9.8% to 15% by fall of 2023. And third, there will be a collaborative approach to curriculum development, and the concept of consortium will be defined to help guide implementation and the effective leveraging of resources throughout our system. Next slide, please, Elsa. We'd like to thank you for your support and for your time so far this evening, and we hope that you feel confident that the programs moving forward in development meet the intention of the legislation and are truly the best first options for our colleges, our students, and our communities at this time. We look forward to working with you as we continue this journey together. We also ask that you visit our website that's been created for additional information about the bachelor's degree process, including timelines, frequently asked questions, and details of working team deliverables and progress. We'll now turn back over to Dr. Lushinsky to guide any further discussions and questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Worster, and thank you, Halise, as well, for this amazing presentation. And as you can see, governing board members, we have some very smart, talented, dedicated individuals who help to lead this collaborative process across our system to get us to this place today. So with that, President Sullivan, I'll turn it back over to you to lead any questions and comments from our board members, and we'll do our best to answer any and all questions as they come forward then.
Perfect. Thank you. And congratulations, everyone. That was a lot of work that you've done and presented this evening, and it surely is inspiring for all of us, particularly those of us who were frontline people with this, and bringing to mind several of the board members present this evening, and with this history, it's darn exciting, and I understand why you picked Kool and the Gang Celebration song. So with that, that's great. I'm going to go through the board as I usually do and ask if there are any key questions with this topic. I think, again, I'll just go through our list, and then if there's discussion amongst us, we'll move forward with that. This evening, I'll start with you, Ms. Nguyen. Do you have any questions or comments? I'll come back to Mrs. Nguyen. Dr. Thor.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. As someone who was involved 25 years ago in the launch of our attempt to get authority for baccalaureate degrees, this is a very, very exciting presentation for me. Definitely exceeds my expectation of what we could have accomplished in the short period of time since the governor signed the bill. I'm interested to know how many unduplicated programs were proposed.
First of all, Dr. Thor, to exceed your expectations, that's very meaningful to hear that. So thank you on behalf of the team and all the work that does mean a lot. That's a very impactful statement. For that question, I'm actually going to see if Elise can help provide clarity as to the unduplicated programs that were proposed.
Thank you, Dr. Thor. That was such a wonderful thing to say. I echo Dr. Lushinsky's thoughts. I've been with Maricopa, I'll be 20 years in January, and I too have been waiting for this moment and very excited for it.
Yeah.
I'm glad it is here. There are 7 unduplicated programs, or there's 7 programs in total. There are elementary education has 3 colleges that will be sharing it.
Actually, my question is how many programs were proposed? I see that there are 7 that have been agreed to, but were there more programs proposed than those 7?
Thank you for that clarification. Yes, actually, no, all 7 that were proposed were accepted. And I think that the reason, if I can provide that briefly, is that we took such a targeted, focused approach that we really were able to work with the colleges throughout the process to have those that best met the criteria move forward. There were 2 others that were in the pipeline, but through discussions, they were not submitted through the process.
I see. So if I'm counting correctly, 9 of the 10 colleges will be involved in at least 1 baccalaureate program. The one that's missing is Chandler Gilbert. Is that because they didn't propose a program?
And so I'll do my best to tackle this one, from Chandler Gilbert's perspective. And I think all colleges, reviewed their existing programs, resources, and what felt right at this time. The way I would offer is that they're participating in this, not necessarily as a host college for a program, but will be part of the curriculum development with the other East Valley programs that are going on. So, I mean, your understanding is correct, but I know as we tee up the years 2 and beyond, that I know there's interest from colleges to engage at that point in time. But initially there was, again, a evaluation at local levels about capacity, resources, you name it. And a lot of thought went into that. And I know it was a very intentional and thoughtful process to get to this place. So, but I'm very confident that Chandler Gilbert has interest in the second phase and beyond to offer that. And I also know they've been very collaborative in the process as a college throughout this, and will continue to collaborate with our sister colleges, particularly in the East Valley region.
Okay, thank you. During the legislative process, we often used radiology as the example of a baccalaureate program that was appropriate to be offered by community colleges. Is the program in nuclear medicine a replacement for a radiology baccalaureate, or will that eventually be in the works as well?
I'll try my best to answer this one too, Dr. Thor. And so the nuclear medicine one, we knew there was a compelling reason to get that moving and get that moving quickly, given what CJ shared in his presentation. And there was also, again, some compelling reasons from the college's perspective. There are additional programs in works we believe will be in works for years, 2 through 5 as we go through this, and other healthcare programs will be part of that. And so I do anticipate that respiratory care will be considered, and hopefully the opportunity for it to move forward, if that's one that we've talked about. I'm not sure if that's exactly what you're referring to there, but that's my best ability to answer your question there, Dr. Thor.
Okay, thank you. And then last, I just wanted to comment on early childhood education. I know you were working on this before the details of the reconciliation bill were shared, but certainly the inclusion of universal pre-K should make that program in even higher demand than what you were anticipating. So it's wonderful to see that, that here. And congratulations to Dr. Gonzalez, who had a goal of producing 5 programs by the fall of 2023. It looks like you're going to exceed that with these 7. So again, this is a very happy day for Maricopa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Thor.
Thanks, Dr. Thor. I expected you would probably be super duper excited after this presentation. So I'm glad to hear that you were, and congratulations for all the work and effort you've put in over these many years, Dr. Thor, to have this come to fruition. So you deserve kudos
Thank
as
you.
well as anyone on this.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. I'm going to move then to Ms. Smith, who joined us a little while ago. Are you present? Have any questions or comments, Ms. Smith?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation, and I want to echo the congratulations for all the hard work. I did join a few minutes late, so apologies if I missed this. What was going through my mind, I was thinking about just making sure that we're generating a lot of interest on the front end. And so moving forward, trying to get a sense of what indicators are we using to know that our marketing efforts are reaching families, reaching prospective students, and in particular, current students who want to potentially, I'll use the word, convert their path from their current one to a bachelor degree pathway. And so I guess I would summarize as a question, if you are able to briefly answer now, but if I did miss it, please direct me to the presentation around what indicators of success are we using to feel confident that we have a strong marketing plan in place and that we're reaching prospective students who are not currently affiliated with the district and those who currently are. Thank you.
Dr. Gonzalez, that may be you and Dr. Lushinsky's answer.
Sure, President Sullivan and Board Member Smith, that's an excellent question. And I think that those are some of the details that remain to be determined. And HLC is also very strict on being able to advertise and market any degrees before they've been approved by them. So we've got to be really careful on how we begin to market those programs. But I totally agree. Once whatever we can market, and once we can fully market these programs, we need to go gangbusters here, and we need to ensure that we've got some metrics that we can measure up against that will, demonstrate that we're optimizing the resources that we're putting into that effort. So I'm asking the team here who's presenting to note this question so that when we come back and present in the future, we will be able to address your specific question.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Smith, what you missed was just more comment on why we needed to call this meeting with some urgency, and it was tied to the timeline that was presented and discussion on the steps that we needed to follow to keep this moving in an appropriate timeline to get things done. If this PowerPoint is available for you to look at, certainly later, in addition to this evening on screen, I'm sure someone would be glad to have that, refresh that present piece of the presentation for you. Do you have any other comments or questions?
I do not. Thank you.
You're welcome. Dr. Narini, your turn.
Yeah, no questions. Just lots of gratitude for all the hard work that went into this and the presentation that was so well done. I'm excited, as Smith saying, is to get the word out, to get the word out and get people excited about the programs that we have, and show them that that we can make these programs happen in a timely way and an affordable way and that sort of thing. So thank you everybody for the presentation and all the hard work that went into bringing this all together. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Narini. Mrs. Mcgrath, do you have comments or questions?
Thank you. I constantly get comments about how happy people are that we will have affordable four-year degrees as compared to what they're costing now. And that is one of my concerns. When this was proposed, we were told by staff over and over that it would not cost any more than we currently charge, that it wouldn't be expensive. But in hearing about these wonderful specialized degrees, I have a strong feeling that we're going to have to be paying a lot more to certain professors to teach these. For instance, in the IT field, I don't think you can hire anybody in IT that's very good at a low rate. One of the things I'm really concerned about with the costs is that all of the other four-year degree schools are paid for out of the state budget, and our schools are paid for by the county taxpayers. And I really think that that's an inequitable position. I think that these four-year degrees should also be paid for out of the state budget rather than by our county taxpayers. And I'd like that addressed and hopefully changed.
Well, good comments. Would anyone want to go just briefly or generally over the cost issue? And then certainly your last point about taxpayer support versus state budget is an advocacy moment for us as we look at our own agendas. But is there anyone who has a comment for Mrs. Mcgrath at this point?
Yes, President Sullivan, I can offer some quick comments to Mrs. McGrath's
Please.
questions and observations. So, Mrs. McGrath, we can certainly continue to advocate for your latter comments around whether this is funded through taxpayers or through state allocation. So those are things that we can continue to advocate for. In terms of the cost of these programs, we are afforded an opportunity to charge up to 150% of our current in-state tuition rate, which may help offset any additional costs that these programs may bring to us. Those are some of the details that have yet to be determined, and we will continue to bring those to you and be very transparent to our board and to our public in the cost of these programs and the cost to the students to be enrolled in these programs. And our overall goal, as you stated, is to offer a bachelor's degree at a significantly lesser rate than our university partners and private four-year colleges currently provide. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any further comment or questions, Mrs. McGrath?
Yes, thank you. At the current time, student tuition pays only for 23% of our costs. 75% of our costs are borne by the taxpayers. And to say that we're going to raise tuition will not become even close to covering the extra costs. So I'd really like more consideration given to the idea of appealing to the legislature to pick up the cost of this program, because we'll never get there with student tuition. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bittersmith, do you have any comments or questions for this evening?
I do. Thank you, President Sullivan. I would just like to echo my thanks for the speed in which we have addressed what we said we were going to address legislatively, which is to look at workforce needs and come up with programs that will meet those clear demands in the workforce areas that you have identified. And we talked a lot legislatively about education, public safety, healthcare, and of course, IT. So thank you for focusing on that. I do want to have a couple quick questions. One, just in response to Mrs. Mcgrath's comments, I think we need to ferret that information out in a little fuller structure, and maybe that's information that Dr. Gonzalez, we can put together. And I know we had talking points as related to the legislative activity. Perhaps we could recast those so everybody has those in front of them, so we're all clear on what this is doing financially for us and what our challenges may be in meeting those costs. Secondly, I just have, and I would also echo that Ms. Smith's comments about a marketing plan, understanding we can't market specific degrees yet until we know we've gone through the accreditation process and have approval to offer those. But I'm hoping there's some attention being paid to what we can begin to do generically to talk about these new opportunities in the four-year degree process, so people are thinking and planning and putting that into their database as we see students both graduating from high school and then, as Ms. Smith suggests, coming back for completion of four-year programs who may have been graduates with our associate degrees. And again, I fully understand that it's premature to talk about a particular program, but as we begin to talk about this new opportunity for Arizona students. And then my question is, we have a couple of programs which I'm delighted to see are available in multiple campuses to provide for geographic diversity of access. But is there any anticipated difference? For example, the elementary ed program, will the curriculum and offerings be identical at Glendale, Rio, and Paradise Valley, or will there be different focuses at those three campuses? And likewise, where there's some other duplicate locations, is the curriculum identical, or are we doing different emphasis, different places?
Thank you, Mrs. Bittersmith. And I'd offer, again, I'll give a very general response. I believe the curriculum and the programs that we're offering will be similar they're identical at the three locations. For example, the one that is on the screen now, elementary education with special education, that the curriculum will be the same, the award is the same. But I'd want to defer to CJ and or Halise to provide a little more clarity to that from our perspective, excuse me.
Thank you, Dr. Lushinsky. This is CJ, and so the curriculum for those programs, as was mentioned, will begin to be developed, and the way that it will be done is through a collaborative approach between those colleges, but the colleges that will be offering that program in fall of 2023, but also through a collaborative approach through the entire instructional council. So right from the get-go, the intent is to have all colleges that are involved in offering education will be collaborating on the curriculum development. The specific programs will be designed to be a similar program, but offered in different regions across the county. So the outcomes will likely be the same through development, and really the intent is to have that access to the program within the different regions that the colleges serve.
I presume that, but thank you. I just wanted to make sure I understood that. Thank you, President Sullivan. That was my question.
Mrs. Sullivan, are you still with us?
So I was giving a long oration and I was on mute. Anyway, sorry. We'll back up here. Now, I was commenting that if any other board member wanted to respond to what another board member said at this time or build on another question, this was an opportunity to do that. So I wanted to offer that to any board member if there was further comment or inquiry by anyone. And whether they were on mute as I was and could not comment, I don't know, but I'm not hearing any further inquiry. My comments for the evening were the congratulations, but I had most of my questions answered already by the previous inquiries, and do appreciate that there's some next steps. So just briefly, Dr. Lushinsky, could you just quickly and briefly outline our next steps for the board in this effort and when you anticipate having this come to us for a formal vote so we can keep moving forward? I know you presented the calendar, but could you just remind us again of what's ahead of us?
Sure, I'd be glad to, President Sullivan. So our intent is to continue to update the board through regular communication that are provided in the weekly updates or in the snapshots, if you will. From a formal perspective, we'll be looking to come forward to the board most likely in August of 22, if I recall the timeline correctly, and that will be with the programs, with the curriculum, and that's where we'll be looking for formal board approval. So then at that point in time, we'll be able to move forward with then our marketing, if you will, of these. Well, actually not at that time, it's not the marketing. Then we'll be submitting to HLC and hopefully HLC approval shortly thereafter to then market. So the next formal approval status will be months from now, because we're going to spend the time developing our curriculum and working through that process and that timeline. But we do anticipate, one, the regular communications to you all, and then two, if there's an opportunity that you'd want for us to come back to you to share an update, prior to that point in time, we of course would be glad to do so and could update you on our process and where we are in the different stages of development.
Perfect. I think our interest as board members is certainly to have the constant communication that keeps us in the loop, particularly should we get any inquiry. I know Ms. Bittersmith mentioned talking points, and there are other issues to consider as we move forward that may impact legislative advocacy. So certainly keeping us informed, as you noted, will be important. And if you believe there's an opportunity and a need to present to us in a more formal manner, we could anticipate doing something mid-year between January and July, certainly, so that we could have an update and anticipate what will come to this board in August of 22 with a little more information. As far as the generic marketing piece, certainly behooves us to be thinking about how we talk about that without naming specific programs. So as that gets integrated, it would be certainly appropriate and important to present that to the board as well, so we can know what those steps are and how it's all falling out, so we can be supportive in the community with our talking points when asked. So with that, again, board members, last call for any inquiry, comments.
Sullivan, if I may.
I know there's someone out there. Is that you, Ms. Bittersmith?
That would be Quentin Evans, President
Oh,
Sullivan.
I'm sorry. Please, I forgot to. Yes, I was on mute. So what can I say? Okay, go ahead, Quentin. Please.
So first and foremost, I wanted to commend this whole presentation. The team has put so much effort into this. Speaking on my behalf, I was at the House of Representatives this past legislative session, so it was very interesting watching the changes that happened to this bill and it eventually passing both chambers. So overall, this is a beautiful introduction of bachelor programs. It fills all the gaps, in my opinion. I do have a few questions that are a bit more technical, however. First and foremost, going back to SB 1453, let's see, it states that for the first 4 years that a community college offers 4-year baccalaureate degrees, the community college may not offer more than 5% of its total number of degree and certification offerings for 4-year baccalaureate degrees. Are we anywhere near that 5% mark at all?
Thank you for the question, Quentin. And I would offer, no, we're not near that. But I'm going to ask Ms. Sellis to provide a little more clarity to that answer of no.
Yes, Dr. Lushinsky, thank you. So I think in our conversations, the 5%, and I might actually, I'll apologize, I'll pitch this to Halise and CJ because we know the exact number of where we would be. And so Halise and CJ, do you have that number available? If not, we'll be able to get that number and get it back to you.
We can provide the breakdown by college and system for that number, certainly.
Thank you. I apologize. We didn't have it at our fingertips, but we'll get that over to you and the rest of the board members.
But please know we are under the 5%, and I don't believe we're remotely approaching it at this point in time.
Thank you for that. I do have one more follow-up question.
Go ahead.
So also right under that, actually. So tuition per credit hour for the 3rd and 4th years of a 4-year baccalaureate program may not exceed 150% of the tuition per credit hour of any other district program. So speaking as a student, I actually pay a bit out of pocket myself for my own college education. Me looking at it, I wonder, if I came back to any of the Maricopa Community College schools, is there a current estimate about how much that price might change? Community colleges, at least from what I've heard from other students, and reflecting on my own experiences, it's a more affordable avenue and a better avenue for a lot of people to get their educations. I know whenever financial things were mentioned earlier that there wasn't quite yet an estimate, but I just wanted to check to see if there was for this specifically.
Thanks again for the question, Quentin. And right now we have obviously our regular tuition for our associate degrees, our courses we offer is at $85 per credit hour. And so the 150%, as you mentioned, then puts us in that 120, something, $122 per credit hour, if my math is correct in my head right there. So we're not going to exceed that per credit hour. Our goal, though, will be to make sure that we continue to offer the programs as affordably as we can, because that is going to be an attractive part, of course, as we want students to enroll and engage in these programs. So we're very committed to keeping the cost of the baccalaureate degrees affordable. We're very committed to minimize that passing on the expense to the best of our ability to our students. And again, tuition is one means to do that. And we do have guardrails on that tuition as well. So right now, I can't sit here and tell you that we have already gone through a process that identify what will the tuition amounts be for these respective programs. But that's part of our next phase of this, is outlining costs. What does that mean from a standpoint of tuition, and where else we might be able to utilize resources to support some of the infrastructure needs, should there be equipment needed and things like that. But some good news with many of these programs that are putting forward first, education as an example, we don't anticipate there being equipment or cost along those lines. Obviously in healthcare, there could be some needs with that, but IT potentially. But again, as we look at some of the programs we're putting forward, we don't anticipate significant infrastructure costs, which I think will allow us to definitely be within, of course, the 150% guardrail that we have, but ideally we might even be a little lower than that as we offer our these costs and tuition to our students.
Dr. Lushinsky, if you don't mind, I have the answer to the earlier question. So based on our current numbers of degrees and certificates we have available, then the target number to keep us at 5% is 87. So we've got plenty of room to grow. There's a separate number for the Higher Learning Commission, but based on our current programmatic offerings, 87 would be our 5% number across the district. And we have it broken down by each individual institution as well.
Thank you for that. President Sullivan, I do have one more final question, if I may.
Please go ahead. We have time for your question.
Perfect. So looking at all of these degrees, a lot of them are very math heavy, especially, I mean, nuclear medicine, anything with that. That's beyond even beyond my thought process for sure. Looking at it all, however, and given the pandemic we're in and a few of the other situations that we see ourselves in, I'm going to use Rio Salado as an example here, it being a predominantly online school. Are these degrees planning to become available online?
I think that's something we'll be able to negotiate or navigate through as the development of the curriculum process goes forward. I would anticipate that there will be some classes that may have to have that face-to-face component, just given the nature of the content or the field itself. But I do think the concept of hybrid or online could be part of these programs. But the determining of the modality and the content will rely on our instructional councils, which are the experts across the system in the respective disciplines, and our faculty teaching in those programs to really determine the modality and whether it's again appropriate from a online or hybrid or a face-to-face component. But at face value, I'd offer, I do anticipate that there could be components of these degrees that will have some online aspects to them. But again, there might be other components given the technical nature, the hands-on experience that might also require that face-to-face component. But we'll rely on our faculty experts to help work through the process of that. And then when it comes to the actual scheduling down the road, I'm sure their expertise will lead us in the right direction as to what modality to offer.
Thank you very much, and that's all I had, President Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Next time you get to go first. Hold me to it. With that, board members, one more call for any questions or comments that you might have before we conclude this evening's work session.
I had a follow-up on one of Quentin's questions.
Okay.
Well, in terms of tuition, how will the out-of-state tuition be affected? Will we be charging tuition and a half for that, or will we be able to keep that the same?
That's a great question, Dr. Narini. I think we'd have to explore that one, looking at the legislation and see what we'd be allowed or to do via statute. So I'm not sure we have a great answer for you there. I'm going to defer to my colleagues if anyone might know that one as well. But my gut tells me we'll need to get back to you on that one.
Does anyone have anything to offer to Dr. Narini's comment or Dr. Lushinsky's?
Dr. Lushinsky, this is, I'm sorry, President Sullivan, this is Ms. Sellis. I think as the way it currently stands, out-of-state students would be subject to the statute for how we determine in-state residency. And so we have a policy team that's going to be looking into various aspects of that. And so that would be one item. But as it stands, we do have policy and ARS that we're bound by for determining our in-state resident tuition rates. And so my guess is that we would still continue to be bound by that unless there was a particular stipulation that would allow us to work around that.
I'm sorry, can you, I guess I'm not quite sure what you're saying. Not that the out-of-state students would be charged less than they're currently paying, but they may be charged more than they're currently paying for the upper division classes. Is that correct?
They would be required to pay 150% of the out-of-state rate.
Okay. Now, yeah, that was the question that was asked. All right, thank you.
Okay, so any other discussion? All right, board members and team, Dr. Gonzalez, Dr. Lushinsky, and presenters, again, congratulations, but most importantly, congratulations to everyone who has put in the internal hours and efforts to meet this timeline. And we're excited for as you move forward. I heard enthusiasm from every board member. So I don't know whether they're dancing in the streets to twist and shout yet, but if not, perhaps soon. We'll look forward to staying informed. And if we have any questions developing, we will certainly put them forward to you, Dr. Gonzalez, and then we'll look for answers. So with that, I'm going to wish all of you a good evening and hope that you have a pleasant night. Thank you again, everyone. Great job.